Hello and welcome to another edition of this assembly with your servant Yahweh. And I want to welcome you back as I get right back into these scriptures and continue on with this series titled Redlined. Now, when last I left off, I was in Bere'Shiyth chapter 28, and I was just going over the scriptures concerning a dream that was quite wild, if I might say so myself. And it was given to Yitzchak, whereby he was able to see heaven. And as you may have discerned from the lesson that I gave you, the things I shared with you, heaven really doesn't appear to be all that far away as previously supposed. Not by me, but by others, just to make that clear. So we're going to pick it up here again in chapter 28 at verse 13. And before then, I want to thank the Father in the name of the Son, Yahushua, for giving us this time to assemble and giving us ears to hear and eyes to see, that we may experience this as he did and learn with him. With that, verses 13 through 15. And behold, Yahuwah stood above it and said,
I am Yahuwah Elohi of Abraham your father, and the Elohi of Yitzchak. The land whereon you lie, to you will I give it, and to your seed. And your seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south, and in you and in your seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with you, and will guard you in all places whither you go, and will bring you again into this land. For I will not leave you until I have done at that which I have spoken to you.
That was intense. I don't know if you caught it, but that was pretty intense. All right. Yahuwah stood above this ladder, this ladder that extended from the ground up to heaven. Now go figure. That's either a long ladder or a short ladder. And consider he was able to see to the top. It must not have been very long. All right. Not only is heaven much closer than we have been led to believe, but now we learn here that we can actually see people who are there. I mean, he saw Yahuwah standing there and was able to identify him. The words did not say that Yahuwah projected his image in any kind of way. Yaakov was not using a telescope or anything else to aid his sight. In fact, I don't believe they had telescopes or binoculars or anything like that. Heaven is so near that a ladder can be placed between heaven and earth and can be used to move between the two places. That just might explain the Tower of Babel. You might think those people were kind of crazy. Maybe they were trying to get up to, the upper atmosphere with their tower. Maybe some people think that they were trying to build a tower to go into space. No, heaven is closer, all right? This was not conceptual. This was real. It continues that Yahuwah spoke to Yaakov. There was no PA, no public announce system being used by Yahuwah. He was not shouting or using telepathy to speak directly into his mind. It says that Yahuwah spoke to him. Now try to wrap your brain around this, all right? Heaven is so close that a ladder can bridge the distance between heaven and earth. You can see people there so well that you can identify them, if you know them, that is. Not only that, but you can also have casual conversation without any type of device to aid either your speaking or hearing. Yahuwah starts by identifying himself. In the case, Yaakov does not recognize him. He told him who he was. He identified himself so that he would not be confused with other Elohim that quite possibly could have been nearby. Why else would he feel the need to identify himself? You know, Yahuwah does not do things randomly. He do things specifically. So if he identified himself, that means that he could have been confused with someone else, or maybe Yaakov wouldn't have known who he was if he did not recognize him anyway. All right? If he were, that is, Yahuwah, if he were the only one of his kind, who else would be there to be confused with him? He wanted Yaakov to know what he looked like so that when he saw him, he knew who he was. He knew which Elohim he was dealing with. And he would know that he was his Elohim, that he was Yaakov Elohim, the one whom his covenant was with. Yahuwah goes on to let him know what he would do for him and his seed. If you listen, however, you hear that this would occur at a future date. He said, I will give it. Not that he had already given it. He asked that his seed will be, future tense, as the dust of the earth, brown, loose, whimsical, like a foundation, and easily penetrated. In case you forgot that series of the Dusty Man. And that also says that his seed will be numerous. All right? He goes on to say that his seed, will spread to the four corners of the earth, and every family on the earth will be blessed because of his seed. He did not say how or why they will spread so far, or how all the families of the earth will be blessed through his seed. And that, my friends, that is a future episode, a future series, I'm sure, that will explain that, how his seed not only will he spread throughout the earth, but will be a blessing to every other family. All right? He didn't say he'll be a blessing to his own family. He said he'll be a blessing to every other family. Wrap your brain around that. This was a prophecy. It was a prophecy in which Yahuwah did not specify the time nor the conditions, but he goes on to comfort him and say that wherever they go, wherever his descendants, wherever he goes, wherever his seed goes, that he would be with them. He goes on even further to add that he would not leave them until he has fulfilled his end of the covenant. Now, all that being said, I want to wrap these three verses up and point out specifically a few things that were said. And I want to specifically point out how Yahuwah said who he is, who he will be. He said that I am. He said that I am with you. He said, I will do this and I will do that. But he specifically said that he would do it for Yaakov and his seed. He didn't say he was going to do this for anybody else. He said, I will guard you wherever it is. I will bring you again into this land, which means that his seed, his generations, will be out of the land. He said that he will not leave Yaakov nor his seed. He said he will always be with Yaakov and his seed. All right. To those of you who don't know who Yaakov is, that would be Jacob in the King James or every other translation that you have. All right. He said, until I have done that which I have spoken of to you. So take this as him speaking to not only Yaakov, but to his seed, his generations, that he will not, let me put it like this. He said he would not leave his generations until he have done the things that he's spoken of, which is make them a blessing, which is happening now. We'll get to that later. And also that he would bring Yaakov He will bring Yasharel, Israel, Yisrael, however you want to say that, but it's Yasharel. He'll bring Yasharel back to the land that he promised. So he's stating here that Yaakov would be taken from the land that he promised them, or will leave the land that he promised them, and will go throughout the planet, throughout the earth. And every other family, because of their dispersion, if you will, the diaspora, because of that, every other family on the planet will be blessed. Every other tribe, every other nation. Yaakov's nation is going to bless every other nation somehow. All right? All right, verses 16 and 17. And Yaakov awoke out of his sleep. He said, surely Yahuwah is in this place, and I knew it not. He was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of Elohim, and this is the gate of heaven. It would be a frightening prospect to find you have been living so near to the Savior, knowing that not only is he so near, but he made his name intertwined with yours, and it was not a far distance away. He made his home intertwined with yours, and it was not a far distance away. Imagine that. You think you go into your front room and the Father is right upstairs, a few feet, maybe a couple of miles away, right there in the same space. It was so close, in fact, that the whereupon he could liken unto as a gateway to heaven, home of Yahuwah and Elohim. All right. That's pretty amazing. To find that, this land that you just came upon is pretty much like the lower level of heaven. Wow. All right, verses 18 and 19. And Yaakov rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillows and set it up for a pillar and poured oil upon the top of it. He called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. So Yaakov, using their traditions that they had, he, I guess you could say in today's terms, he sanctified the place by pouring oil on those stones. All right? They were his pillows. You thought your pillow was hard. Wow. That's okay. We'll just leave it at that. Verses 20 through 21. And Yaakov vowed a vow, saying, if Elohim will be with me and will guard me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall Yahuwah be my Elohim. Yaakov made a vow that was contingent upon Yahuwah doing as he has said. He didn't just accept what Yahuwah said, although, he kind of did, but at the same time, he put a stipulation on his acceptance saying that if Yahuwah and his people would do as he said, then, if you don't know who you are, and I'm gonna cut to this. I'm gonna get to this early. Knowing that you are a descendant of Yaakov, if you look around today, you'll understand why so many people do not accept him as their El. All right? He says, so that I come again to my father's house in peace. Yaakov's generations are not in his father's house, let alone in peace. So, in that sense, you can understand why so many do not accept Yahuwah as the El. Because Yaakov himself said, then, after Yahuwah, after Elohim fulfill this prophecy, he said, then shall Yahuwah be my Elohim. Not before. He said, until. He said, until he does this, until this happens, until I am brought back to the land of my father in peace, Then Yahuwah be Elohim. Wrap your brain around that. I didn't write this. He did. All right. Verse 22. And this stone, which I have set for a pillar, shall be Elohim's house. And of all that you shall give me, I will surely give the 10th unto you. Very interesting. The symbolism of the stone pillar should not be overlooked. It would seem that he is speaking symbolically. After all, Yahuwah is not expected to live in a stone. And how would he give to Yahuwah a 10th of what he is given? He is speaking symbolically and literally to express his reverence for Yahuwah. It was not that he could actually do it or that Yahuwah actually needed it. It was for a sign of his honor for the Father. And what they acquired in those times were the actual things that they needed. Food, crops, cattle, and water. Someplace to lay their head, building materials, clothing, and land upon which to build and live. These were the simple things that they sought to acquire. Money was not a necessity in this world. Why would he give Yahuwah money? It wouldn't make sense. So that Yahuwah could come and shop in the market. Perhaps he could purchase some processed groceries to fill his pantries. Maybe he could buy a vacation to relax. Why would Yahuwah need money? All right, it doesn't make sense. Money was never the intent of what would be given to Yahuwah reverence and honor. When these people symbolically gave, things were burned in honor of the Father. In other words, to give to him, they deprived themselves of it. They took clothes and cattle and crop and burned it. They gave it symbolically, at least at this time. Now, there will come a time when they gave and, it was actually for them. But during this time period, they would take it, deprive themselves of it, burn it, and, send it up in effigy of the Father. So right now I'm going to burn this episode, and we'll relight that match when we get back for the next part. Until then, I'm the service of Yahuwah Soya. I'll see you next time.